I'm Farah Duro, and you're listening to the PCOS Revolution podcast. Well, hello, ladies. I hope all of you are having an amazing start to your summer, and welcome to the PCOS Revolution Season 3. And being bathing suit season and all, I thought it would be only appropriate that we talk a little bit about weight loss today and hear from a naturopathic weight loss expert. So I've asked my friend and colleague, Dr. Iris Crawford, to join us today. Welcome, Dr. Crawford.
Thank you. Thanks for having me back.
And definitely, if you haven't heard Iris's episode on our first season, a little bit about her background. She's actually a naturopathic physician and is CEO of Naturkur Wellness. And, you know, her journey really inspired her to be what she's doing right now is actually developing a 100-pound weight loss program for patients. And herself went through a pretty tough journey. So why don't you tell us how did you get to this point as far as developing this?
Yeah. So when I graduated from medical school, I was struggling with weight. I was burned out, and things that we're all, told to do weren't working for weight loss. And when I was looking into it further, I was a naturopathic doctor, a new doctor, and I had a lot of health knowledge, and the things that I had learned weren't working even. So I know that this can really be a struggle for a lot of people, especially women. So when I went through that, I really was able to dig in and see what was going on. And I actually discovered that there are some issues that are very specific to women that cause us to gain weight. And so I work with a lot of women with weight because of the fact that a lot of what I'm focusing on in my practice is working with women, specifically busy, burned out women who want to lose weight and get their health and energy back.
Awesome. And why do you think it's important to address weight with PCOS?
Well, specifically, weight is one of the biggest aspects of PCOS. Now, not everyone with PCOS is overweight, but it is one of the mechanisms. There's the blood sugar issue. And when you have high blood sugar, it actually signals the brain to make fat. And when you have fat, it actually causes high blood sugar because it causes insulin resistance. So this is a big factor with PCOS. So, PCOS is I would categorize it similar to pre-diabetes even, because of that blood sugar issue. And I feel like if you don't lose the weight, you can't address the blood sugar unless you want to be on medication or supplement for the rest of your life. And if you don't address the blood sugar, you're not going to be able to reverse the PCOS syndrome. So it's a really important piece.
Definitely. So what have you noticed from your personal experience, I guess, when you're working with women with PCOS around weight loss? What are the biggest obstacles that you see?
I do feel that the biggest obstacle is the weight. The other issue is actually as a woman, getting the access to care for something like this and not just saying, here's a prescription, right? So access to a real solution is the first obstacle, perhaps. But after that, even in the conventional medical model, the issue is, okay, well, you need to lose weight. But there's not the support there for that, and especially someone who has a lot of weight to lose. So, and that's one of the reasons why I developed this program it's a big initiative for me this year, which is helping people who need to lose 100 pounds or more. So that 100-pound weight loss, I'm sure any of you who are listening and you have 100 pounds or more to lose in order to be, in the healthy weight range, that is a very daunting task. And there's really not a lot of options for you out there that feel doable. And so it's, really surgery or just diet and exercise, which I guess you've probably tried that, right? And so I feel like there's a lot of support that's needed and a really excellent comprehensive approach that will get you results and make it so that you can that the results that you do get are sustained long term.
Right. And so say you're just starting out and you want to, like you're, I'm coming in, I need to lose 40 pounds and where do I start?
So with a 40-pound weight loss, it's basically similar to, if you have 20 pounds or 100 pounds to lose, you need to actually address the top 3 blocks that I've seen in the last decade working with people on weight on weight loss. The top 3 blocks to weight loss are toxins, stress, and also so toxins, stress, and broken metabolism. So those 3 issues. And the reason why I say this is the first step is you need to have these addressed. Otherwise, what you're doing isn't going to work. And that's why, like so many people sit in my office and say, no matter what I do, no matter how much I eat or how little I eat or how much I exercise, the weight doesn't come off. And those 3 issues, if they're not addressed, it's almost like it's a very painful cycle of frustration and disappointment when everything that you're doing, you're working so hard to get the weight off, and those issues, if they're not addressed, then you're going to continue to struggle.
So how does someone know about how their metabolism is working or not working in that case?
Yes. So this is a big deal, and it's not addressed pretty much anywhere. And this is probably the number one thing I would say is something to overcome. And because if you do diet, say you're on a 1,500 calorie a day diet, or, less or more, give or take a couple hundred calories. And maybe you weigh 200 or more pounds and you're eating those diet calories and you're not losing any weight. That is definitely the first sign that your metabolism is slow or broken. And the reason why your metabolism becomes slow or broken is because of low calorie dieting. So this is all we've ever learned about weight loss is it's about calories in versus calories out. It's a mathematical equation, right? So if the problem with that is that there's 70% now of Americans are overweight, and there's more diets out there than there's thousands and thousands and hundreds of thousands of diets out there. And most of them and everything we've been taught is about eating less calories. And eventually, how low can you go? You just be, fewer and fewer and fewer calories until eventually you're eating nothing. That is where you back yourself into a corner and your metabolism's broken. And this is where I really help people recover their metabolism and reset the metabolism. And it's amazing when they're finished with the weight loss phase of my program, they're actually able to eat normal, healthy calories, which is in some cases, it's between 2,000 and 3,000 calories. And I've seen it over and over again. If they don't eat that, if they're under eating when they're done, they actually gain the weight back. But if they eat the right number of calories, which is almost always more than what they're used to, then they're able to keep the weight off.
So that's interesting. And we had on our show last week, Dr. Paul Magarelli, and he was saying like he had his Metabolic Institute and he works with PCOS patients and has an IVF clinic, but basically saying that, that we're starving because we're eating the wrong foods, and our brains too are starving. I mean, it's just not the right type of foods, but in the right type of foods, eating more of them is actually the key, not just eating less in general.
Yes.
Is that what you're saying? Or
yes. So, and there's some complexities in here too. For example, eating fat does not make you fat. Eating fat signals the brain that it's safe for you to release body fat. Eating carbs actually is the thing that signals the brain to make fat. So there are some nuances in there, but absolutely the number of calories also counts. But again, I agree with what he was saying, which was that you want to actually match a person's metabolism, have them be eating right for their metabolism type, and that's what we do for our patients. We put them all on a plan when they're finished with the program. When they reach their goal, they know exactly what to eat for their metabolism type and the calorie range they should stick to, which is very generous. And they don't have to be in food prison anymore because their body's getting what it needs.
Interesting. That's very key. And I mean, I know that we talked about this a little bit on the first season, but since then, there's been more research actually that's come out about these certain supplements that actually, I think, are really key also with what we see with our patients with definitely with insulin resistance and trying to, manage the emotional part of eating too is myo-inositol, which has been, I think, just one of the game changers with a lot of our patients. Like oh my God, I'm finally losing weight, it's coming off. And,
Yes.
while following that, low carb but high protein sort of diet, and, a little bit of B12. So what have you noticed with that? And what can you tell us about the myo-inositol?
So I really feel like this has been getting a lot of coverage the last few years. And it is one of the easiest ways. It doesn't take medication or anything like that while you're working on losing weight, you really have to be on a supplement routine from, and work with someone who knows what they're doing with that. And so if you've, the myo-inositol is actually something that I'm really happy that it's in more formulas nowadays. It's kind of hard to find a PCOS formula with it in it, but I think it's a fantastic and even necessary piece of the puzzle when you're looking at it from a holistic perspective. Because when you still have the PCOS and you still have the extra weight, you really have to be on a supplement if you want to be managing that and not continuing to have your symptoms get worse.
Right. I mean, we were so impressed, and I've been taking it as well in my smoothies every morning, and just so impressed with the changes that we saw with our patients that we decided to, and we're getting a little bit of a tangent, but it's not really because it's important. We decided to really, offer our own customized blend really for women with PCOS that, it combines the power of, we talked about a little bit before this call about turmeric, and it combines turmeric with CoQ10 and myo-inositol and magnesium and N-acetylcysteine. So it's just an amazing approach where, it doesn't, and it actually tastes good. And it's not a capsule because our patients are just overly capsulated. There's just so many pills that they're taking. And turmeric, I mean, it's an interesting thing, but, with inflammation, we need to find some natural anti-inflammatory action because PCOS does have an inflammatory basis. So, do you think that also is helpful for weight loss?
Absolutely. In fact, any of my patients who are on the weight loss program, which is the Crawford Metabolic Repair Protocol, they're actually, if they're inflamed, their weight loss will slow down. So it's a very crucial piece to look at, because not only does turmeric help with inflammation, but it has so many powerful health benefits that I tell people that it's one of my top 5 desert island herbs, because it just is incredible with its medicinal value. And I have seen your formula. I love it. I think it's fantastic. It has chromium, so it really addresses all the issues that are going on: the inflammation, the blood sugar, and the actual ovarian health and everything. So yeah, I love your product.
Thank you. I'm super excited about it because it tastes like pineapple.
Oh my gosh. And it's sugar free.
It's sugar free. It has a little stevia, but you can add it to your smoothie and everything. So, but I just thought how perfect. If you're actually we have smoothie recipes we give our patients too. I'm sure you do. And you have your favorite things that you make up, throw that in there and it's like you're done, so getting back to that, I really think that, it's important to do the right sort of approach where you do have someone that you're working with that actually can speak the language and say, you know what, it's not because what you're doing is wrong. You're eating, you're eating too many calories, or you're not exercising enough. All those things. That's kind of the wrong approach, is what you're saying. It's really,
yes, yes. Because this is the thing. If you have extra weight on your body, most likely it. Most likely you've tried to get rid of it, and you've tried to, diet, you've tried to exercise, and it hasn't worked. You haven't been able to stick to it, or you don't have the right support and accountability, or there's something missing with trying to do it on your own, and oftentimes you get stuck. And eating less and less and less isn't the answer. That's correct. So this is why I feel really strongly about making sure that there's options out there for people, and getting that support. And even if it's just 25 pounds or 50 pounds, it doesn't have to be 100 pounds, but, I know that it's that much harder when you've got this, road ahead of you to lose 100 pounds. And guess what? My program that I developed recently for 100-pound weight loss, actually you get down about 100 pounds in 10 months.
Wow.
So it makes it feel so much more doable. The weight comes off without hunger. It's sustained. You keep your muscle mass. There's just so many things to think about when when you're losing weight. And I really, in fact, I have a book that is coming out here in the next month or so called Diabetes Free. It's Reverse and Prevent Type 2 Diabetes by Losing 100 Pounds Without Starving Yourself, Going to the Gym, or Painful Surgery. And it's just a big passion of mine to make sure that people know that they have another option besides just being medicated or having bariatric surgery, or, those are really the only options that a lot of people have. And I'm so happy you've got that resource too, that, that people can trust, and listeners can trust, the information that you're providing. And also, you're like that supplement. It's good to be able to get something from a provider who really knows what she's talking about.
There's so many like conflicting articles online and videos, and go to YouTube and all these things. It's very confusing, honestly, if you're trying to sort through what's really working. And we do have quite a number of patients who've had bariatric surgery and they're still overweight. The weight has come back, and not only that, they also have nutritional deficiencies because they can't absorb like they used to, obviously, because they're part of their intestines are missing. So what's going on with this? What do you think? Do you see patients that are trying to lose more weight after surgery, years after, I guess you could say, that are struggling? Or
yes, it's heartbreaking for me, because knowing everything I know about the metabolism, I'm really saddened by this approach, because I've recently done a lot of research on this, and I have a webinar I'm creating that spends a good deal of time talking about bariatric surgery. And I have had patients who years afterwards are still struggling with weight gain because of the fact that when you have that surgery, there are a lot of complications with it, but when you've had that surgery, it actually does break your metabolism, because even though you can't eat as much food, your cells still require a certain number of calories. And if you can't get those calories in, your metabolism slows down. And the rate of people who regain their weight after surgery is actually quite it's quite high. And honestly, the pain that people go through, like the first year after surgery, I mean, I've had people calling me for help, they're in tears because they can't eat food without feeling sick. And, and they do have deficiencies, and these deficiencies affect our health as well. So there's a lot of problems wrapped up in that. And it's just not a solution, based on, from my professional experience and my perspective, I don't feel that that's a good solution. I feel like it's a Band-Aid.
Right. And, it's what you're doing is so important, I think, because I saw one of your testimonials, one of your patients who had lost 100 pounds. And I thought that life is totally different. Like life is different. Like what do you see emotionally coming out of that when you help someone who has lost over 100 pounds?
Oh my gosh. It is one of the most profound experiences of my life, is being able to help someone in that way. And for example, I have, maybe you saw the testimonial from Jay. I have a video, and he actually came to me weighing 425 pounds. And to date, he's lost 225.
Wow.
So he is half the man he once was.
Holy cow.
But twice the man in many other ways, because he's able to live his life now. I mean, it is incredible how much 100 pounds really weighs you down. And it's not just on the outside, it's on the inside too.
That's incredible. I'm sure that he's, just like forever grateful. And what do you find as far as a follow-up 5 years later, 2 years later? Are they maintaining this, or is it still a struggle?
So actually, because we provide an entire aftercare program for all of our patients, we make sure that they're on track. It's just as important to us that they're able to maintain their weight on their own as it is that they actually lose the weight. So our aftercare program is probably even more, comprehensive than the actual weight loss program, because we want this to be a long-term solution, and we don't want you to have to diet to keep it off.
Right.
So we make sure that as long as they're eating according to their metabolism type, which we test for, and we actually provide a whole meal planner and food choices and everything, so they know what their body burns efficiently for energy and to burn fat. And I actually went to the grocery store with Jay and helped him see what he could eat, and he was just totally shocked at the things that I was pointing to him, like, you can have that. And he's like, what? I can have that? He was so excited because he thought, he was used to what diet foods were. And because he'd been struggling with this for years. So pointing out to him things that he could eat were a revelation, and he gets to enjoy food. He doesn't have to just stick to a diet for the rest of his life to keep that weight off. And, that's no way to live. So one of my joys is helping people get out of food prison.
I can't wait to read your book coming up. We're definitely going to post a link to that. And I think that, for just someone who's trying to get started, what would be the first step that they should take if they are listening and, they've tried a million things. And like most of our patients coming to us have tried every single weight loss program under the sun. And they've also exercised in every workout video and, gym, and, tried just about everything you can think of. What next?
Yeah. So what I would recommend is I'd recommend that we chat, because it's really a matter of assessing what it is that you're dealing with. It's really individual. So, we need to look at what one of the 3 blocks that I was talking about, the 3 blocks to weight loss, which ones are at play for you. So what I would recommend, the first step would be to actually book a free phone call consult with me, so that I can actually see what the next step is for you, because it's not a cookie cutter approach, and you really need to see what is going on and what's holding you back specifically. So that would be what I'd recommend. Mm-hmm.
I highly recommend Dr. Crawford. So, and if there's anyone who's listening who's not in the Seattle area, can they still reach out to you? And is there a way to do that? Just
Absolutely. Yeah. Because now the weight loss program that I have, the Crawford Metabolic Repair Protocol, it is something that we need to meet in person once, and you can do from a distance, but it's better if you're in the Seattle area for that specifically. But remember, there's 3 blocks that may be stopping you from losing weight. So removing those blocks, we can always look at what else is going on and how, there's other things that we can look at. For example, the way that stress affects, especially women, causing the kind of the trifecta of weight gain. That is something that I help with. I help women with nationwide. So that's something where we can look at balancing hormones and all those things that stress, how stress keeps us fat. I just did a Facebook Live today about how stress makes us fat, and that process in the body can be reversed, and we can create a healthy response to stress so that we're not set up for failure when it comes to dieting.
That definitely is so key. I mean, actually, I think most of us are under more stress than we realize, and that's just not even recognized. And we see it when people come in and they're like, "Oh, they get needles and they're just melting on the table." Like, I didn't know I was this stressed, And just it's so important. And I think that's one of the reasons why acupuncture is helpful for weight loss too. And we didn't talk much about that, but and interestingly, we use ear seeds. Sometimes there are little pressure points that can also help with cravings, but those points are actually very close to nerve endings that actually can help with relaxation. So,
oh my gosh, yes. Acupuncture can help with everything, but I recommend it to everyone, all my patients who have, stress or pretty much anything. I'm always recommending acupuncture. It really is an integral part of any holistic approach, I think, to issues you've got going on.
Well, thank you so much for stopping by our podcast tonight. And I really hope that all of you have gotten something from this. We'll definitely be sure to post Dr. Crawford's links up. And please feel free to keep your questions coming. Email us, post on our Facebook page. And we definitely want to hear from you. So thank you, everybody, and have a beautiful week. Bye-bye. And that's the end of this episode of the PCOS Revolution podcast. If you've enjoyed the show and want to help me spread the word about how women with PCOS and hormonal imbalances can lead happier, more healthier lives, please head over to iTunes and leave us a review. They really do make a difference. If you'd like to have a question answered on the show or would like to recommend a guest, please go to floridacompletewellness.com/podcast. If you're on social media, you can follow me at facebook.com/FloridaCompleteWellness and twitter.com/FloridaComplete, where I post a lot of interesting research, webinars, and articles on our blog about really getting to the root of hormonal imbalances like PCOS. So it's a great way to stay in touch with the latest developments. Thanks so much for listening, and see you soon.